Okay, Supriya, let's continue with the endocrine system. We had started discussing about the major endocrine glands in the body, and we had completed studying about pituitary gland as well as pineal gland. You remember the structure, the location, the functions of the glands, the various hormones produced by it, right? Now let's take a look at the remaining glands. Okay, so you remember very well that when we spoke about pituitary gland, we have mentioned that it is the smallest endocrine gland in the body. Yeah, then?
Yes.
Same way, the next one we have to discuss is the largest endocrine gland in the body, and that is the thyroid gland. These are very probable questions. Please remember that. Okay, the smallest endocrine gland is pituitary, and the largest one is thyroid. Okay, now where is the thyroid gland located? It is in the throat region.
Yes.
But exact location कैसे बताना है? See, it is first of all a gland which is said to be bilobed. It has got two lobes. Okay, so it is present in front of the trachea, just below the larynx.
Trachea is here.
Yes.
Below the.
Here is the other name of the windpipe.
Yes.
So in front of the trachea, that means thyroid gland is located on the ventral side, not on the dorsal side. That is one thing. Okay, and in the throat region you have the larynx. What is the larynx also called as?
Voice box of the.
Yes, the larynx is also known as the voice box. Okay, so just below that voice box is the thyroid gland located. So whenever the correct address of any gland is asked, you have to give very specifically. You cannot say it is just located in the throat region. Okay, and it has got a good supply of blood vessels, and the two lobes of the thyroid gland you can see here in the diagram. Okay, this one. This is the two lobes. Okay, we call it as the left and the right thyroid gland below the larynx, as you can see. And here the two lobes are connected by this tissue in the center. That connective tissue between the two lobes, उसको बोलते हैं isthmus.
Isthmus?
Isthmus. Okay, it is connected by a non-secretory band which is called as isthmus.
Okay, got it.
Now inside the thyroid lobes. Okay, now we have seen externally the lobes are present. See here, the right and the left lobe. So if that lobe, passing through that, if you take a section and observe under the microscope, so this is how it will appear under the microscope.
Wow.
Internal structure. So you can see inside there are many follicular cells present. These large ones which you can see, they are the follicular cells. They are the thyroid follicles, okay, and they are lining cells which are there. उनको बोलते हैं follicular cells.
Oh, okay, ठीक है, समझा.
Lining cells, ऐसे बहुत सारे सेल दिख रहे हैं ना लाइन में. So those cells are called follicular cells, and entire thyroid follicles. In between the follicles, you can see there are blood capillaries present. It is supplied with a rich supply of blood vessels, and in between the follicles, you can see there are small cells which are present. दिख रहा है?
Oh, yes.
Called as the parafollicular cells, also called the C cells.
Okay, got it.
Understood the locations? ये हम लोग बोल रहे हैं thyroid lobes के बारे में. Got it? Okay. So there are thyroid follicles present in between, supplied with blood capillaries, and also parafollicular cells present. Is that clear? Why C cells? Because they appear very clear. So that's why the C stands for clear cells.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Parafollicular or the C cells. And inside the thyroid follicles, there is a gelatinous colloidal mass present.
For what?
It is like a suspension, like a solution, but it has got a gelatinous texture.
Okay.
Gelatinous colloid is present in the follicle. inside the
Okay.
follicle. Understood the external and internal structure properly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you talk about thyroid gland, there are basically three hormones which are produced by the thyroid. Three hormones.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. There are three hormones. Now, from the pituitary, you know very well there was a hormone called TSH,
Yes.
stimulating hormone. Okay, so
Huh?
pituitary creates that TSH, which stimulates this thyroid to make the thyroid produce the
Oh, yeah.
hormones. That's why this is called
Okay.
stimulating hormones. Now, in
Okay, got it.
these thyroid follicles which are there, which are
Huh?
lined with follicular cells, they produce two hormones. One is called T4, other one is T3.
Okay, got it.
4 is
T4,
also
T4.
called tetraiodothyronine. Both.
Tetraiodothyronine.
Thyronine. That is T4.
Tetraiodothyronine.
Correct. And similarly, T3 is called triiodothyronine.
Triiodothyronine.
Thyronine.
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
T3
Yeah.
and T4 both are produced by the follicular cells. And out of that, T4 is the one which is called thyroxine.
Oh, okay.
Thyroxine is the other
Got
name
it.
for tetraiodothyronine. So the tetra and
Tetraiodothyronine.
they denote the number of atoms of iodine present in them.
Okay, yes, correct.
So that's why for functioning of the thyroid gland, production of the hormone, iodine in the diet is necessary.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Now, what happens is when the thyroxine hormone is produced, how it is produced? There is an amino acid called tyrosine, okay, which is attached to iodine,
Huh?
and then the thyroxine hormone is produced. So the attached
Oh, okay.
tyrosine amino acid to iodine takes place by enzymatic action.
Okay, got it. Enzyme.
What happens is this tyrosine molecule will bind to iodine and it will first produce T1, that is monoiodothyronine.
Of course.
Then this
Yeah.
T1, okay, this compound will or then bind with two more atoms of iodine to produce diiodothyronine, T2.
Mono di.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Okay, then the T1 and T2 will then bind together. So that
Bind together.
T1 and T2 mono will bind together to form the colloidal mass in the follicles.
Okay, got it.
This
Got it.
becomes the base for the formation of T3 and T4.
Okay, got it.
Okay, the T3 which
Yeah.
is it is secreted in small quantity, not much. Why they are produced in small quantity? Because even a small quantity is enough, they are very active ones. The T3. Okay, and you remember one more important point that thyroid is the only gland in the body that can store its hormones. In general,
Oh,
learn that hormones are produced and they are utilized and they are finished off. Next time they are required again they are produced. But here it's the only gland that is able to store because there is a gelatinous mass, a gelatinous colloid which can store the hormone.
oh, how cool. Okay.
Okay, okay, it is cool. Very good. Okay, so T3 and T4 they are stored before secretion, and as a stimulus from the pituitary gland, the T3 and T4 are released wherever required.
Okay, got it.
Understood this?
Yes.
Okay, properly. So, talking about the thyroxine, this hormone is significant because it regulates something called BMR, basal metabolic rate.
Basal metabolic rate. What is basal metabolic rate?
Means in general, our body, how it is able to carry out its metabolism.
Okay. Okay.
internal health of the body, if you say, you should not be too hyperactive, you should not be too sluggish.
Okay.
There has to be a proper balance in a healthy individual, what we say. So
Yes, correct.
depend करता है how fast the digestion takes place, how fast any other metabolic activity in the cell takes place. वो basal metabolic rate. Thyroxine is able
Okay,
to
got it.
okay, so it regulates
Yeah.
metabolism, it stimulates protein synthesis in the cells, it promotes the body tissue growth.
Okay.
So
Got it.
body tissues growth में भी help करते हैं. Okay, it also helps
Yeah.
in thermoregulation, temperature
Thermoregulation.
regulation,
Oh,
temperature
okay.
regulation. It increases the heat production.
Okay.
It
Got it.
increases the action of neurotransmitters. We have learned about this. Adrenaline or adrenaline. Okay. It also supports the process of RBC production. Erythropoiesis.
Correct.
Yeah, there.
Huh? Oh, yes. Yeah. I remember.
Okay.
Yes.
Balancing the water and electrolyte in the cells. So if you remember, sometimes it happens that you dehydrate a lot. Okay, if there is excessive vomiting or something, excessive sweating. So in that case, what happens? You tend to become very weak. जैसे diarrhea वगैरह में भी होता है. Okay, in any you dehydrate a lot, so the doctor prescribes what कि पानी तो पीना ही है, but not only water. Along with that, you have that electrol or something. जिसमें electrolytes. Because only water, those minerals are also necessary. Getting it? Water and electrolytes is a must. When you become weak, your muscles start paining. So electrolytes are the ones which are able to provide strength to the muscles.
Correct. Yeah.
At the same time, in the thyroxine also able to regulate the menstrual cycle in females. उसका regulation help करता है.
Oh, wow, how cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So thyroxine has got many functions.
Okay.
They are all associated with internal metabolism. Okay. So we have discussed about the two hormones produced by the follicular cells in the thyroid gland. At the same time, there are parafollicular cells present called the C cells. They produce something called calcitonin hormone. Remember the name.
What is calcitonin hormone?
That is a hormone produced by the parafollicular cells. Its function is calcium metabolism. From the name itself, you can make out calcitonin. We will come back
calcium, okay, easy.
We will come back to this hormone once again when we will discuss about parathyroid gland.
Okay, fine.
For now, follicular cells produce calcitonin hormone.
Okay, got it.
Talking about disorders associated with thyroid gland. Okay, so some amount of thyroxine produced is more or less. What can be the disorders produced? First one is hyperthyroidism.
Hyperthyroidism, yes.
Produced. Increase in the thyroid. Now, thyroxine is an important hormone. We have seen the roles. But anything in excess also be dangerous. Correct?
Yes.
Stimulate hyperactivity, higher metabolic rate, okay, ultra sensitivity. Okay, like response to stimulus is good, but if you over respond to a stimulus, that is bad.
Yes, correct.
Okay, too much of sweating. Like if you shake hands with such a person, there will be always sweat on the palms.
Oh, okay, got it.
Flushing मतलब not that other one. यहाँ पे flushing का मतलब है like lot of sweating sensation. Okay, एकदम ऐसा heat.
That is basically a sweaty person.
Sweaty person. Rapid respiration. Hyper ऐसा लगेगा. क्या हो गया? ऐसा anxious लगेगा. Getting it? Okay. And you can see this expression, eyeballs bulging. Okay, eyeballs bulging हो जाते हैं and also other physiological activities affected. So yeah, hyperthyroidism symptoms. Getting it? There is this condition called Graves' disease, also called exophthalmic goiter. Okay.
Oh, Graves.
ये जो दिख रहा है ये बल्जिंग आईबॉल्स ये उसके सिम्टम है. सी एक्स ऑप्थेल्मिक का मतलब क्या है? एक्सो मतलब आउट, ऑप्थेल्मिया मींस
Yeah.
so eyeballs come out, obviously not
Oh
literally,
no.
but
Sir. Oh, okay, got it.
literally, but you can see over here the eyeballs are protruding out. Why it is?
Yes.
Because in their
Correct.
body, due to hyperthyroidism, there is more
Yes.
fatty tissue deposited behind the eyeballs. तो eyeballs के पीछे ज्यादा फैट्स डिपॉजिट होने की वजह से, पीछे नहीं, eyeballs के पीछे वहां ज्यादा
Got
फैट
it.
डिपॉजिट होने की वजह से eyeballs come out. That
Oh
is
no.
disease. So person
Okay,
will
got it.
getting it,
Got it.
increased BMR,
Yes.
weight loss, okay, increased heartbeat, increased blood pressure, high body temperature, ये सब symptoms हैं. Nervousness मतलब
Okay.
एक anxiety बना हुआ रहेगा पूरा. Irritability,
Okay.
continuously getting irritated. Okay.
Yeah.
Tremor of the fingers. Irritability का मतलब है high response to stimulus, more than what is normal.
Okay. Okay.
हाथ ऐसा shake करते रहेंगे. These are all symptoms of hyperthyroidism.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
Remember the word Graves' disease, X ophthalmic cortex.
Correct. Got
Okay.
it.
In the exam, if the question is what is the reason for Graves' disease, it is excessive secretion of thyroid hormones.
Thyroid hormone. Okay. Got it.
Similarly, if there is a less secretion, deficiency, we call it
Hypothyroid.
thyroidism. Or sometimes, for some reason, the doctors may have to remove the thyroid gland surgically. Okay, कभी वो भी करना पड़ता है, तो उसको बोलते हैं thyroidectomy. Whenever the name ends with ectomy, that means removal of that part. So
Yeah.
मतलब removing the thyroid gland surgically. तो वहाँ पे thyroxine hormones ही नहीं है. It is deficient. So externally, doctors will prescribe the thyroxine hormones to the patients in the form of pills, whatever. So under such conditions, it can lead to disorders. So in case of children or infants, when there is a deficiency of thyroid, it is called cretinism. And in the case of adults, there is a deficiency of thyroxine. The condition is myxedema.
Myxedema. Okay. Got it.
Myxedema. नाम याद रखना. Okay.
Myxedema.
In the early case, growth hormone from pituitary. There also we have seen deficiency disorder in children are different and adults are different. Even the hypersecretion also we have seen. Yeah. Pituitary dwarfism, gigantism.
Oh yes. Yes.
Right? यहाँ पर
yes.
cretinism is also a type of dwarfism. But the reason is due to deficiency of thyroxine. Getting it? Okay. So already are low oxidation, abnormal. They are short statured, short in height.
Okay.
Okay. Skeleton doesn't grow properly. Mentally retarded person. Dry skin. Okay. Thick tongue. Neonatal jaundice. ये infants के बारे में बात होते हैं.
हाँ, jaundice.
Neonatal jaundice मतलब by birth there will be jaundice, and that too prolonged one. Lethargy. The person is not very active. Infants. Constipation. You know what constipation? Okay.
Yes.
In such conditions, if there is a deficiency of thyroxine hormone, it can be treated by administering thyroid hormones externally. It can be. Okay. So this kind of a person is called as a cretin. Okay. And they show stunted physical growth, dwarfism as I said. Also, overall growth of the body doesn't happen properly right from the infant stage. That's why they also reach puberty very late, and also there is mental retardation.
Oh no. Okay, got it.
But the reason is because of deficiency of thyroxine. In the
got it.
Okay. Next है myxedema. It is deficiency again, but in adults. Okay. So here what happens is there is thickening and puffiness of the skin. ऐसे एकदम chubby
Movement. Okay. Got it.
And the subcutaneous tissue also. That means in the lips.
Yeah.
There will be a thickening, puffiness. So face
Uh-huh.
extremities मतलब the fingers and the digits, पैर का toes वगैरह.
Okay.
वहाँ पे एकदम ऐसा थिकनिंग रहेगा. कभी कभी शेक हैंड करो तो पता चलेगा.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So
Yes.
patient will lack alertness. एकदम ऐसा dull रहेगा. Intelligence will be less. Okay. Slow
Oh,
heart
really?
than the normal. Low blood pressure. Always feeling cold. Getting it. Low body temperature. And even the sexual development is very retarded. Not very secure.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. That is character
Yeah.
mixed edema. Is that clear?
Okay. Got it.
Understood about hyper and hypothyroidism properly?
Yes. Properly.
There is one more condition over here. उसको बोलते हैं simple goiter.
Great.
Few minutes back, what we saw that was exophthalmic goiter.
Acha, yes, I remember. Goiter.
It was because of hypersecretion of thyroxine hormone.
Thyroxine gland. Yes, correct.
This
Yes.
one is simple goiter. This is due to deficiency of iodine in the diet.
Deficiency.
Iodine.
Iodine in the gut.
Iodine भी कम रहेगा. So thyroxine hormone formation will be affected. We have just seen that iodine is necessary for thyroxine. It's a component of that molecule T3 and T4. तो अगर अपने डाइट में आयोडीन कम रहेगा, so what will happen? The thyroxine hormone production will be less.
Yes, correct.
So what happens is the thyroid follicles, they start swelling. That swelling is a simple goiter. You can see the swelling over here in the neck.
Yeah.
Especially in the hilly areas, this is more common because वहाँ पर iodine का कमी है. समंदर से दूर है ना?
Okay.
Sea water salt contains iodine. Okay. Size of the thyroid gland will increase, but output of thyroxine becomes less.
Okay, got it.
Understood. That's why there was a program launched by the government called as Goiter Control Program. Okay, so it's like when people, because of the understanding by researchers and experts, when we came to know that mainly because of iodine deficiency, so it was understood that one should include iodine in the diet, and the most common thing which everybody consumes is salt. That's why
salt. Oh, yes. Yes.
And that's why you get iodized salt. So because this was continued, then salt reached everybody, and the goiter was prevented to a large extent.
Okay, got it.
समझा? ठीक है? Okay.
Yes.
Into calcitonin. See, we have seen T4, that is thyroxine. We have seen the disorders associated with it. Now,
yes, correct. Oh, T4 was thyroxine.
This calcitonin is secreted by the C cells या parafollicular cells. Okay, so अब इसका क्या role है calcitonin का? See, in the blood we have calcium and phosphorus, especially calcium in the blood as well as in our bones. Okay. So what happens is calcium ions, that is Ca+2, present in the blood, and they have to be uptaken, deposited on the bones to make it strong. Or sometimes if the blood has got less amount of calcium, so the bones will give the calcium and put it into the blood. Both are necessary as per the requirement.
Okay, got it.
क्या करता है? Maintains the concentration of calcium and phosphorus.
Oh, nice. Okay.
In the blood plasma, whatever is the plasma calcium concentration, whether it is less than required, more than required, that is a negative feedback control, because of which the calcitonin decides. And if in the blood the amount of calcium rises, then calcitonin is in the blood. If the calcium is more than what is required, then calcitonin will be secreted that will stimulate the bones to take up the calcium from the blood, get it deposited on the bones.
Okay, got it.
At the same time, it will also stimulate the bones to not give more calcium to the blood.
What? Okay, got it.
So blood, the plasma calcium concentration is maintained by this way. That is done.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So if the calcium concentration in the plasma, if the calcium concentration in the plasma increases, then calcitonin is secreted.
Okay.
We will understand this once again when we spoke about the next gland, that is the parathyroid gland.
Parathyroid gland. I like it. Yeah.
Understood about the thyroid gland properly?
Yes.
All the disorders also. Okay. Talk about the parathyroid. Now, firstly, the location. Where are the parathyroid glands located? Thyroid is in the ventral. उसको घुमा दो पीछे dorsal side में parathyroid.
Correct.
Just behind the lobes of the thyroid. Dorsal side.
Yeah.
There are 4 parathyroid glands present. ये दिख रहा है 4 पिंपल. Okay, they are the parathyroid glands.
Oh, this is the back side of the. Yeah.
ये जो बड़ा पिंपल है वो thyroid gland है. Just behind that. That is where the thyroid glands are present. Okay. There are 4 of them, 2 on each lobe. So the upper 2 parathyroid glands are called as the superior parathyroid gland.
Superior. Oh, ऐसा भी है.
And the lower 2 are called inferior parathyroid gland.
Inferior, of course.
So
Yes.
2 superior, 2 inferior, 4 parathyroid glands.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So in the cells, now parathyroid, they secrete a single hormone. It's a peptide hormone. Okay. The hormone produced by it, that is called as parathormone, simply PTH. Okay, the hormone produced is called parathormone PTH. It is also called as Collips hormone.
Why Collips?
It was associated with the name of a person. Okay. Hormone. Only one hormone produced by parathyroid. Now this hormone is exactly opposite in action to what is done by the calcitonin. Calcitonin क्या कर रहा है? If there is an increase in the calcium concentration in the blood, then calcitonin will stimulate the bones to take up that calcium, put it into the bones, and not deposit the calcium into the blood. वो calcitonin opposite. Okay. If there is less concentration of calcium in the blood and the blood requires it, so this will be stimulated Collips hormone, which will stimulate the bone to break down the calcium and put it into the blood.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So it draws the calcium from the bones, increases calcium absorption in the digestive tract also. When it is passing through the digestive tract, if there is calcium in the diet which you have consumed, so from the intestines, when the calcium absorption will take place, that will increase so that the blood gets more amount of calcium.
Okay.
At the same time, when the kidneys are filtering the blood to produce the urine, there is a filtration mechanism involved there also. So when that filtration is going on, it will stimulate the kidneys to absorb more of calcium if it is there and put it into the blood. So ultimately this hormone is trying its best to increase.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Is it clear?
Yes, clear.
Understand the parathormone and the calcitonin. They are antagonistic pair of hormones.
Okay, got it.
That's why, because of both these hormones, the concentration of calcium and phosphate in the blood is maintained.
Oh, okay, good.
Because one is increasing, other one is decreasing. So दोनों की वजह से क्या हो रहा है? Maintain हो रहा है. The blood calcium and the phosphate levels remains normal. Is it
Got
clear?
it. Yes. Yeah.
So if the
अच्छा
amount of parathormone is less, if there is hyposecretion, so
Yes.
and it's logically understood the calcium concentration in the blood will become less if there is less of
Yeah.
parathormone. Okay, so if the blood calcium level decreases, it will increase the excitability of the nerves and muscles.
Oh. Okay.
The nerves and muscles will become overstimulated.
Hmm.
There will be muscle twitch and spasm,
Oh
unnecessary
no. Yeah.
movement of the muscles.
Yeah.
जैसे हिलता हुआ दिखेगा हल्का सा muscle twitch, involuntary जैसा हो जाएगा.
Yes.
That is called as parathyroid tetany, also called hypocalcemic tetany.
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 Okay. Got it.
Got it? Okay.
Yeah.
If the parathormone is secreted in more amounts, hypersecretion. So what will happen? There will be more deposition of calcium from the bones. So bones में calcium कम हो जाएगा.
Yes.
It will undergo demineralization.
Yes.
It will undergo demineralization. Bones will become soft. Bones can bend. Bones can fracture.
Yes.
उसको बोलेंगे osteoporosis. Osteoporosis. Osteo का मतलब है bone. Pore मतलब bones. The bones become porous. Soft bones. This happens when the hypersecretion of the parathormone. So osteoporosis is a common condition when women reach the age of menopause. What is menopause?
Oh. Yes. When the menstrual cycle stops.
Correct.
47. Right.
Correct. 45 to 50, 55 के age group में when the menstrual cycle stops, the reproductive life of the female ends. At that time, there are a lot of changes associated. जैसे menarche के time पे changes होता है, उसी तरह menopause में भी काफी changes होते हैं. This is one of them.
Oh, okay.
Getting it? Okay.
Getting it.
समझा यहाँ पे? Any doubt in the parathyroid and thyroid? Sure. Okay. Okay.
समझा.
Next one. Next gland we are going to see is the thymus gland. It's a small gland, but we have to discuss. Okay.
Okay.
Thymus located in the heart. Okay, it is located in the heart. So it is on the upper part of the thorax. Thorax मतलब chest cavity. Dorsal side of the heart मतलब heart के पीछे.
Yes, पीछे.
Heart के पीछे के side में. ठीक है? So it's a soft pinkish bilobed mass made up of lymphoid tissue. That is very important. It has lymph and lymphatic cavities, vessels.
Oh, okay.
Circulatory system. But at the same time, you have to remember it is said to be a temporary gland.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because during birth, right from the birth, this gland will be there, very prominent. But as and when the person goes towards adulthood, it undergoes atrophy. That means it starts degenerating.
Oh, okay.
Towards adulthood. That's why it is a temporary gland. It is not there throughout life.
Okay.
So this can be a very interesting question. Dash is a temporary gland in the body.
Thymus gland.
Yes.
Yeah.
This thymus gland secretes only one hormone called thymosin. Thymus.
Yes, correct.
Remember.
Thymosin. Yes, correct. Got it.
क्या है? Developing the immune system of the body. Nowadays, since last year, we are talking a lot about immunity, immune system.
Yeah.
What do you mean by immune system?
Immune system, love. Immune system.
Very scientific. I mean, very unscientific. Immune system. I hope you are concentrating.
Yes, I am.
Yes. Immune system का मतलब है when the body has got its own ability to fight against diseases.
Yes, that is the correct
system. Okay, so in the blood, there is one type of a WBC called as lymphocytes.
Lymphocytes.
One of that is called T lymphocytes, which is associated with immunity. So more and more T lymphocytes should get matured and help in providing immunity. That is taken care of by thymosin.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Thymosin also helps in production of antibodies. Nowadays, again, during vaccination and all, we are talking about that. For the COVID-19, everybody is taking vaccination. So what is happening because of that? When you take a vaccine, your body is producing antibodies against the virus. So more antibodies will be able to better fight against diseases. उसको बोलते हैं humoral immunity.
Humoral immunity.
For human health and disease, I suppose, where we'll learn in detail about immunity. But अभी के लिए समझ जाओ. So that's a small gland, temporary gland. You have understood that. Any doubt in thymus? Okay. Thyroid, parathyroid, and thymus. These three we have.
Yes.
Let's go to the kidneys.
Kidney. Ikade.
Okay. Adrenal, also called suprarenal gland.
What, sir? You took my name.
Means above. Supra.
Acha, suprarenal gland. Okay, got it.
मत लिख देना. It is suprarenal gland. Is it clear?
Okay, got it. Yes, clear.
Wow. ठीक है. So here, adrenal glands. Where are they located? They are located above the kidneys.
About the kidney. Okay.
So if you, how many kidneys does a normal person have?
Do.
Okay, there are two kidneys being shaped.
Yes.
Both the kidneys above them, there are this single triangular samosa present. That is called as adrenal
Oh,
gland.
yes. Yes, correct. You're right.
That is called adrenal gland. So there are
Okay.
glands that we have. Yes, conical yellowish glands, and each adrenal gland shows two regions. See this. Okay, you can see the upper outer portion. उसको बोलते हैं cortex.
Cortex.
The distinct inner portion उसको बोलते हैं
Medulla. Yes, cortex and medulla. Yes.
Outer region is the cortex, inner part is medulla. Why we have to know about these two? Because adrenal cortex secretes one set of hormones. Adrenal medulla has got another set of hormones. Both are different.
Oh, okay.
So when you take a section of the adrenal gland, you will be able to see the different layers.
What is that? Oh, wow.
The entire adrenal gland is covered with a protective covering called capsule.
Capsule. Okay.
Okay, just below the capsule, the outermost part is called zona glomerulosa.
Oh, yeah, there's a difference between dono. Yes.
Okay, below the small layer is called zona glomerulosa. Below
correct.
fasciculata. यहाँ पे spelling inverted हो गया है. Fasciculata zona नहीं है, zona fasciculata.
Oh no. Okay, got it.
The inner one is called reticularis.
Reticularis.
Adrenal reticularis. Okay.
Yeah.
In the adrenal cortex, there are three zones of cells. Outermost being the capsule. उसके अंदर glomerulosa, followed by zona fasciculata, zona adrenal reticularis.
Reticularis.
The innermost layer is the adrenal medulla portion.
Got it.
ये एक्चुअली नाम बराबर लिखना है. Zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, zona reticularis.
Zona repeat किया. Okay.
ये क्या हो गया? Enter वगैरह दबाया नहीं, or something like that. Zona glomerulosa यहाँ zona आ गया. This zona should and it should be zona fasciculata.
Yes.
ये zona लिखा है, ये इसके नीचे जाएगा, zona reticularis. ये नीचे जाएगा. This is adrenal medulla.
Yes, correct. Got it.
Understood? So there are three such zones in the tissue you can see.
Yes.
Is it clear?
Clear.
Okay.
Clear. Yes.
Adrenal cortex. What hormones are produced from the entire cortex portion उसको बोलते हैं corticoids.
Corticoid. So wait, what is corticoid?
The group of hormones which are produced together from the adrenal cortex.
From the adrenal cortex. Okay, got it.
All corticoids. Many hormones are produced. Okay, so let's take a look at the hormones. The outer one, as we said, zona glomerulosa.
Glomerulosa.
Yeah. Repeat again.
Continue.
Repeat again.
Zona.
Smarty. Zona के आगे क्या है?
Glomerulosa.
Glomerulosa. बोल.
Yes, that.
Yasmin.
Glomerulosa. I said it.
This outer zone, the zona glomerulosa, they produce something mineralocorticoids.
Oh no. Okay, mineralocorticoid.
Yes.
Easy.
Okay. So their function is to regulate sodium and potassium ion concentration. See, the word is mineralo. So mineral ion concentration. So
yes,
sodium and
mineral,
potassium. So
Yes,
salt
yes.
water balance, blood volume, blood pressure, ये सब maintain करते हैं. And one of the main mineralocorticoid is a hormone called aldosterone.
Aldosterone is?
It is one of the main mineralocorticoids.
इसको इतना highlight.
तो adrenal cortex में zona glomerulosa में जो hormones हो रहे हैं, that is called mineralocorticoids. One of the mineralocorticoids, the main one, is aldosterone.
Aldosterone.
It is said to be a salt-retaining hormone. That means allow the minerals to lose from the body. They are retained in the body, especially the sodium potassium levels. So salt-retaining hormone is the aldosterone.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Coming to the second layer, that is zona fasciculata. Bolo.
Fasciculata. Easy. Fasciculata.
Fasciculata secretes something called glucocorticoids.
Glucocorticoids. Corticoids.
पहला वाला क्या था? Mineralocorticoids. Here this
glucose.
corticoids.
और
And
इसमें प्रोटीन्स लिपिड्स वो सब रहेगा और एक और एक कार्बोहाइड्रेट.
उसमें एक एग्जांपल याद रखिए, cortisol.
What is cortisol?
One of the glucocorticoids.
Oh, important types.
One of the mineralocorticoids was aldosterone.
Yes, correct.
Okay,
Aldosterone.
one of the glucocorticoids is cortisol. So from the name itself, you can understand when it is gluco, it is associated with carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. Uska metabolism.
Yes, correct.
Important glucocorticoid is cortisol. So it helps to increase the blood glucose level.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
carbohydrate metabolism में help करते हैं. And it is also immunosuppressive. That means sometimes production of antibodies can be damaging. So
Yes.
रखने के लिए cortisol is necessary.
Okay, got it.
Also in treating allergy. Okay, and
Treatment of allergy.
not completely, to some extent, it helps to keep the allergy under control.
Okay. Nice.
It also
How
prepares
cool.
animals to face emergencies in the nature. Sudden decide करना है कुछ अगर, तो glucocorticoids come into picture. Any kind of emergency. If a deer is nicely grazing somewhere, suddenly there is a tiger, the deer understands. So as a reflex, the deer must start running, no? Emergency.
Okay, वैसा. Okay, I thought. Yeah.
Along with that, this hormone also helps.
Okay, nice. How cool.
Glucocorticoids produced
Okay.
zona fasciculata. Is it clear?
Clear.
One is zona reticularis. The third,
Reticularis.
this one produces something called gonadocorticoids,
Gonadocorticoid.
also called as the sex
Gonad. Yes, correct.
hormones. You know that.
Correct.
Gonadocorticoids are also called the sex corticoids.
Sex corticoid.
Okay, so in the case of males, yes, in the case of males, They are the ones which help in determining the external sexual characters.
Okay.
Whatever sexual
To
characters
identify.
to restricted only to the males. Development
To
of the
identify.
to develop. Okay, development and maintaining
Okay.
of external sexual characters.
Okay, got it.
Corticoids. Okay, and if there is more amount of sex corticoids produced in females, then it leads to a condition called adrenal virilism, also called another one is called hirsutism. That means the female will appear more like a male.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes very rarely the females have hair on the face. Okay, it happens sometimes. That is because of overproduction of gonadocorticoids.
Oh, acha. Okay.
Is it clear? Okay.
Clear.
In the males, if there is an oversecretion of that,
Oversecretion of?
oversecretion of the sex corticoids in the males, then it will lead to condition where the males will have female characters. Males will have large breasts. Getting it? That is called as gynecomastia.
Gyneconastia.
Mastia.
Okay.
Okay, that is a condition where males develop enlarged breast like the females.
Okay.
That is because of excess production of sex corticoids in the males.
Okay. Okay, got it.
So androgens and estradioles, ये दो नाम याद रखना है. Which are the sex corticoids produced by zona reticularis.
Okay, got it.
Group of hormones को gonadocorticoids बोलते हैं.
Okay.
Androgens and estradioles.
Okay, got it.
Adrenal cortex is clear. Different of the cortex and the different hormones produced from each. अच्छी तरह से.
Okay, continue.
So talking about the disorders. Disorders associated with adrenal cortex.
Yeah.
Okay. So if there is a hyposecretion of mineralocorticoids and glucocorticoids, then the condition which arises is called Addison's disease.
It is a disease.
Yes, disorder.
Okay.
Addison's disease. So mineral corticoid and glucocorticoid agar kam secrete hua. So what happens in this condition? Blood sugar level kam ho gaya, low sodium, high potassium, increased loss of sodium and water. Like these hormones are maintaining a balance of minerals and carbohydrates. So वो अगर कम ज़्यादा हो गया तो this can be the symptoms. उनको Addison's disease बोलते हैं. So there will be excessive weight loss, weakness, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, etc.
Okay, got it.
Addison's disease because of hyposecretion of mineralo and glucocorticoids.
Yes.
Similarly, if there is a hypersecretion, अगर glucocorticoids का hypersecretion हो गया,
yes, correct.
Called Cushing's disease. Okay, hyposecretion Addison's, hypersecretion में Cushing's disease.
Okay, got it.
High blood sugar level, okay, glucose excretion in the urine, rise of sodium ion, high blood pressure, obesity, okay, wasting of the limb muscles. Wasting matlab muscles become very weak and like cannot be used. Muscles का power ही नहीं रहता.
Oh no, okay, got it.
Okay, over secretion of glucocorticoids. नाम सब याद रखना है, बराबर याद रखना है. एग्जाम में अगर क्वेश्चन आएगा Cushing's disease is caused due to dash, so you should be able to tell specifically hypersecretion of glucocorticoids.
Yes, correct. Glucocorticoids. इसमें mineral corticoids नहीं है ना? Yes, okay, got it.
Yeah. Next, that's all about adrenal cortex. Now let's go to the inner part, that is adrenal medulla.
Medulla.
Okay, this adrenal medulla secretes two hormones. First one is adrenaline, other one is noradrenaline.
Okay.
Adrenaline is also called epinephrine. Noradrenaline also called norepinephrine.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so adrenaline जो है उसको हम बोलते हैं emergency hormone, also called as a three.
Wait, that Edison's harness, correct?
ये medulla की बात हो रही है, adrenal medulla.
Yes.
Okay, it is adrenaline is also called emergency hormone or 3F hormone, fight, flight, fright. Fight, flight, and fright. Under such situations, adrenaline is produced.
Yes.
And noradrenaline is able to regulate the blood pressure, okay, and also acts as a vasoconstrictor.
What is vasoconstrictor?
Vasodilation and vasoconstriction बताया था पहले.
Oh, that. Yes, I remember. That.
Vasoconstriction, blood vessel का lumen बढ़ाना is vasodilation. So noradrenaline acts as a vasoconstrictor.
You're right. Yes.
Okay. Understood this properly?
Understood.
In adrenal gland.
Yes.
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 Properly. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next important gland, and that is the pancreas.
Yes.
Pancreas, you have studied that in the digestive system also. Even you drink.
Oh yes, I did. Yes, I remember.
It is the only gland in the body which is exocrine as well as endocrine.
Endocrine, yes.
Endocrine part produces the digestive enzymes. We have already learned that. Endocrine part, they contain some groups of cells which are called islets of Langerhans.
Islets of Langerhans, yes.
Okay. The islets of Langerhans over here, they have 4 types of cells which produce respective hormones. Okay. So you have alpha cells, which is around 20.
Cells.
They produce something called glucagon.
They produce glucagon.
Alpha cells in the islets of Langerhans of the endocrine part of the pancreas produces the glucagon.
Got it.
Okay. What does this glucagon do? It will stimulate the liver.
My liver.
Yes.
Yes.
It will stimulate the liver to do something called glucogenolysis.
Glucogenolysis. Yes, I wrote this answer 1,000 times.
Liver में जो extra glycogen stored है, reserve food material, that has to be broken down to produce glucose. Put the glucose in the blood. So blood glucose increase.
Correct.
Done by glucagon. The second one is beta cells, which is the maximum 70%. They produce insulin. Insulin is very common.
Yes.
Hormone also stimulates the liver. But ये उल्टा काम करते हैं. Liver and muscles को stimulate करेगा कि blood में से glucose उठाओ, convert to glycogen, store it in the liver and muscles. Glycogenesis. So glucagon will stimulate glucogenolysis. Beta cells will stimulate, the insulin will stimulate glycogenesis. So now you can insulin and glucagon together when they are functioning, they are antagonistic.
Got it.
जैसे blood glucose level बढ़ रहा है, दूसरे की वजह से कम होता है. Both of them are able to maintain the blood glucose level. Okay. The third one is delta cells, about 5% of it.
Yes.
Gamma ni delta. Okay, they secrete somatostatin.
Oh, okay. Somatostatin.
Glucagon, insulin, दोनों को inhibit करेगा. Okay, as a supervisor about these two.
Inhibit करेगा. Okay, yes.
They also decrease the gastric secretion, gastric juice production, motility and absorption in the digestive tract. वो सब reduce करेगा. Okay.
Okay.
And the fourth one is PP cells. also called F cells, or 5%.
Oh, wait. What was that? Nietzsche? Adrenaline.
Adrenal medulla में जा. 3
Yes. PF.
Fight, flight, and fright.
Oh yes.
That is different. This one is only F.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
They produce PP का मतलब है pancreatic polypeptide. That is what they are secreting.
Okay. Got it.
Pancreatic polypeptide. So during the digestion, pancreatic juice is produced into the duodenum. उसका inhibition करता है ये hormone.
Oh, okay, got it.
So in the endocrine part of pancreas, in the islets of Langerhans, there are these 4 types of cells which are present.
Okay, got it.
Is it clear?
Clear.
Okay. Now talking about the disorders, diabetes mellitus. This is the diabetes that we normally know. उसको बोलते हैं hyperglycemia, excessive sugar in the blood. Most common metabolic endocrine disorder associated with pancreas. Correct? There is underactivity or deficient activity of the beta cells, because beta cells insulin produce करते हैं, insulin glucose को reduce रखते हैं, वो कम हो गया.
Yeah.
Now in children there is a condition which is called type 1 diabetes.
Yes. Type 1.
Okay. Insulin dependent diabetes mellitus.
IDDM. Yes, correct. I know. Yes.
Okay. And the other form is non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, which is type 2.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So type 2 जो है, that is due to failure of the insulin completely.
Okay. Got it.
See, beta cells हमने देखा कि the maximum amount is due to beta cells, 70%. तो अगर उसका failure ही हो गया तो you can imagine how much the blood glucose level will rise.
Correct.
That is type 2 diabetes.
Okay, got it.
So failure of insulin to facilitate the movement of glucose into cells. That is type 2. So insulin से अगर sensitivity reduce हो गया, then it is called insulin resistance.
Of course, yes.
Understood this? This is the most metabolic disorder associated with pancreas. You should remember.
Okay.
Okay. So in type 1 or type 2, both the cases, the blood glucose level increases, and it increases so much that the kidneys are forced to excrete the glucose in the urine.
Yes, correct.
So excessive urination, dehydration, okay, and degradation of fats, because of which there are ketone bodies produced, that is called ketosis. Yes. So externally, the person has to keep on taking insulin.
Okay.
Injection ये लेना पड़ता है. And at the same time, lot of doctors always advise कि physical activity बनाए रखना.
Yes.
Because so that maximum utilization of the glucose will take place.
Yes,
and
correct.
avoiding any kind of physical injury, because clotting, healing नहीं होगा ठीक से.
Yes.
Person, if the doctor has to undergo some surgery for some reason, doctors will have to wait and check कि blood glucose level क्या है. अगर blood glucose ज़्यादा रहेगा तो surgery नहीं कर पाएंगे डॉक्टर. Got it? Okay. So diabetes is one of the most common issue. ठीक है? So that was all about the pancreas, which we have completed. Okay. Now the next one we have to see are the gonads. Okay.
Gonad.
We are going to discuss in detail anyways when we learn about the reproduction in human topic. Okay. But here from hormones point of view, we have to learn it. So when you say gonads, you know very well, they are the testes in the males, ovaries in the females. Okay.
Yes.
First, let us look at, we are just looking at the hormones which are produced and their respective functions. So let's talk about the females. Okay. So here the first hormone is the estrogen.
Estrogen.
That's the female sex hormone. And the most estrogen is something called estradiol. These are steroid hormones.
Yes.
Okay, so they are the ones responsible for secondary sexual characters in females.
What is secondary sexual character?
That means those external characteristics which are associated with only females.
Oh, okay.
Hair on the
Got it.
face. Okay, less chest hair, right? Delicate muscles, delicate body.
Oh, yes, correct.
They are all
Yeah.
secondary sexual characters. Okay, that is because of estrogen. Second one is progesterone.
Progesterone.
It
Yes.
is also known as the pregnancy hormone.
Hmm.
Okay, now in that lesson, when we will learn in detail about the histology of ovary and menstrual cycle, you will be learning there is a phenomenon called ovulation, where the Graafian follicle ruptures, the ovum is released, the fimbriae capture it. So after that, the remaining part of the follicle, it turns into something called as corpus luteum, a yellow colored body.
Corpus luteum. Yes. Yes. I remember.
Corpus luteum produces the progesterone.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, according to the menstrual cycle, about 14 to 15 days are there in the female, which is the most fertile period, where the ovum is available in the fallopian tube and the uterine wall, that is the endometrium, is thick and cushioning enough.
Okay, got it.
In anticipation that if there is a sperm and it fertilizes the ovum and the zygote embryo is produced, it is highly probable during this time.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Got
why
it.
for 14 to 15 days, the corpus luteum maintains the progesterone.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So during pregnancy, the development of mammary glands also take place because of this hormone.
Yes. Progesterone.
During pregnancy, the uterine contraction should also be minimized. Okay. Otherwise,
Okay.
natural abortion that should not happen. That is because of the progesterone again.
Okay. Got it.
One is estrogen, second one progesterone, third one is something called relaxin.
Relaxing.
Yes, this is also secreted by corpus luteum at the end of the pregnancy.
End of the pregnancy.
Of the pregnancy. Gestation period matlab end of the pregnancy period.
Okay. Okay.
So the cervix of the female. Cervix is the junction between the vagina and the uterus.
Okay.
Portion is called cervix. So that will be
Yes.
okay, that will be relaxed. The ligaments of the pelvic girdle will become relaxed so that it will help, because towards the end of the pregnancy, the parturition must begin.
Oh, yes. Yes. You're right.
Body is being prepared for easy birth of the young one.
Okay.
Relaxation of the cervix, relaxation of the pelvic girdle ligaments. Both happen because
Okay.
relaxin. The name itself tells you.
Yes. Correct.
One is inhibin.
Inhibin.
This is also produced by corpus luteum.
Oh, wow.
So see, corpus luteum is there. Till the time corpus luteum is there, it means there should not be a formation of new follicles.
Hmm.
So new follicles are stimulated because of FSH.
FSH. Yes.
So corpus luteum will secrete inhibin, which will send a message to the pituitary saying that right now I am there, so don't need to produce any FSH.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Okay.
Corpus luteum completely degenerates. That becomes a message for the pituitary that new follicle has to form. Imagine the coordination.
Hmm.
So it inhibits the FSH and GnRH production. Gonadotropin,
Yes.
reproductive hormones. Okay, relax. Your tongue will get twisted. So ovaries produce 4 types of hormones: estrogen, progesterone.
Progesterone, relaxin, inhibin.
Okay, these are from the ovaries.
Happens. Yes. Okay. Got it.
In the males,
Testis.
they produce the male sex hormone called as testosterone.
Yes. Testosterone.
Okay,
Yeah.
the group of male sex hormones are called androgens.
Yes.
Testosterone is an example of that. So
Yeah.
when we learn about the histology of the testis, there we will see that there are something called interstitial cells, also called as the cells of the Leydig.
Leading.
Of the testis, there we'll learn the histology. Right now we are not going into the anatomy of the testis. Okay?
Okay.
So they the Leydig cells in the testes produce the testosterone. Okay, and this takes place under the influence of LH, that is luteinizing hormone.
Luteinizing hormone. Yes.
It's like a feedback mechanism. If there is good amount of testosterone in the body, automatically the LH secretion also gets inhibited.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
So there is appearance of secondary sexual characters in the males. That is because of testosterone.
Okay. Yes. Correct.
Hair, pubic hair. Okay, deepening of the voice, broad
Voice, yes.
shoulders, male aggressiveness. All this is because of maintenance of testes. Is it
Yeah. Okay. Clear.
so the hormones
Yes.
from the gonads properly?
Properly.
Now
Yes.
the last one we are going to see is diffuse endocrine glands. Diffuse
Okay.
are not properly established permanent glands. They are like scattered groups of cells or temporary structures which are produced in the body having minor functions. So because we
Okay.
are learning about control and coordination, we'll learn about these also. So again, when we will learn in detail about reproductive system, we will see something called placenta.
Placenta.
During
Yes.
human embryonic development, okay, when the embryo is being formed, that time there is a connection of the embryo with the mother's body.
Correct.
All of the
Yes.
uterus called endometrium. Okay, that's
Yes.
finally there is a connection between the mother and the baby.
Hmm.
That is because of the placenta.
Placenta. Yes.
This is also a temporary endocrine gland.
Yes.
Got
It
it?
is temporary. उसके बाद
Okay.
yes.
Yes. So during pregnancy, placenta is the one which will secrete the hormones like estrogen, progesterone, HCG. HCG
Human
is significant. Human chorionic gonadotropin.
chorionic.
In the market, there is one pregnancy test kit available,
Correct.
which can be detected at home also. Okay.
Yes.
So what is the principle behind that? If a woman is pregnant, so the woman's urine will have traces of HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin.
Okay.
This is secreted by the placenta, and placenta is there. That means the embryo is there. That means fertilization has taken place. That woman is pregnant.
Oh, makes sense. Okay, got it.
जिसका detection करता है वो pregnancy kit.
Okay, got it.
So these hormones, they check the contraction of the uterine muscles and also maintain the thickness of the endometrium. So it helps to maintain the pregnancy till the growing period of the embryo. Imagine that 9 months of pregnancy. Proper
But
idea
how is this a minor ऐसा?
means
So, why is it considered as a minor?
minor in the sense like say diffuse. It is produced during embryonic development. Once the
Yes, उसके बाद it is a temporary. Yes.
once the pregnancy is over, once the parturition takes place, the placenta is also removed because it is not required anymore. And of course, needless to say, this is only in the females. Right? We can never hear that a male has got a placenta or something. Got it? Associated with pregnancy and child delivery. So that's one of the glands we have learned. That is placenta. Okay. Then the next one we have gastrointestinal tract. If you discussed about human nutrition, there also we have learned about gastrointestinal tract.
एक minute.
Hormones
Human
हमने
nutrition.
so in the stomach and the intestine.
Yes, I do remember.
Cells which are endocrine in function. They produce cells which are associated with digestive system.
Yes.
First one, gastrin.
Gastrin.
Is the one that stimulates the gastric glands, the lining of the stomach, to produce the gastric juice.
Okay.
Second one, secretin. Okay, secretins, secretion of pancreatic juice and bile from the liver and pancreas.
Yes.
Okay, then you have CCK, cholecystokinin. Okay, also called pancreozymin.
Pancreas. Yes.
Cholecystokinin, pancreozymin, PZ. What is their role? They release their enzymes and also stimulate the gallbladder to release the bile. Gallbladder
Oh,
produce it. It only stores the bile from the liver.
yes, correct.
कौन मैसेज पहुंचा रहे हैं कि now the time release the bile, that is this one, cholecystokinin.
Okay, got it.
There is GIP, gastric inhibitory peptide,
GIP, yes.
also called
GIP.
enterogastrone. Also
Yes.
called enterogastrone. So it will slow down the gastric contraction and inhibit secretion of the gastric juice. If food was there in the stomach, okay, gastrin was the one that stimulated the wall of the stomach to produce the digestive juice. Digestion, the food passed away from the stomach, went into the intestine. So there has to be some message to the gastric gland that food has passed. Now you can stop the production.
Yes, correct.
So these are the four hormones associated with gastrointestinal tract. That is gastrin, secretin, CCK or PZ, and GIP. Is it clear?
Yes, clear.
Then we go to the kidney.
Ooh, kidney.
Also produce hormone. वहाँ पे होता है renin,
हाँ.
erythropoietin,
What?
calcitriol.
Calcitriol.
Okay.
It is related to
Hormones are associated. Now see the name erythropoietin. You recollect erythropoiesis.
Oh, coesis. Ah, yes.
Kidney
But how is that related?
hormone stimulates the blood to produce RBC.
हाँ.
Okay? And
Oh.
renin also takes part in osmoregulation. Okay, calcitriol. It is the active form of the vitamin called cholecalciferol. That is D3.
Okay, got it.
Okay, ये सब minor hormones हैं. These three produced from the kidney. And don't get confused between calcitriol and calcitonin.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to ask you that.
Yes. Okay. Then the heart. Heart में release होता है something called ANF. Atrial natriuretic hormone.
Atrial, मतलब this side. Yes.
Atrial natriuretic means what?
What is natriuretic?
Natri का मतलब है natrium, that is sodium.
Sodium. Yes.
Secretion of sodium in the blood. It
Okay.
increases sodium excretion by kidneys and also reduces the blood pressure. So this ANF is the hormone produced by the heart. Remember the name, atrial natriuretic hormone. So we have learned about all the possible glands and their hormones in the body.
Yes.
Now there is something called hormone therapy. HT.
Huh?
Okay.
Hormone therapy.
Therapy का मतलब है treatment.
Yes, correct.
This can be used for medical treatment. So hormones are externally applied during pregnancy, during menopause, osteoporosis, if there is a growth hormone deficiency, insulin resistance, even in some cancerous conditions. In such cases, as per the requirement, the doctor will prescribe hormones. So one has to get the hormones externally, either via injections or pills as per the condition. It is a doctor.
Okay, got it. Got it.
उस कंडीशन या उस तरह के ट्रीटमेंट को बोलते हैं हार्मोन थेरेपी.
Hormone therapy. So wait.
Okay.
Chapter over.
Okay. So in the beginning of chemical coordination, हमने देखा था pheromones. Do you remember that?
Pheromones.
Pheromones.
Chemical coordination. Pheromones. Ha, correct. Yes.
Pheromones.
Yes, yes.
Pheromones are applicable for insects. Mostly.
Yes, correct.
So when members of the same species, they produce hormones to communicate between individuals. अभी यहाँ पर हमने जितने glands के बारे में देखे, hormones का देखा, they were within one organism.
हाँ.
But pheromones are between different organisms of the same species.
I remember now. Yes, I
So
remember.
social hormones बोलते हैं.
Social hormones.
Also
Yes.
called sex attractants or
Mhm.
external hormones.
External hormones. Yes.
Okay. So it's a volatile substance which is produced by one organism, and their presence in the air, if up to a certain distance, if another individual of the same organ species is there, it will stimulate a physiological response in the other individual.
Okay.
So
Okay,
it's
got it.
in the case of insects most commonly. Okay.
Hmm.
Females will release the pheromones in the air. So if up to a
Pheromone.
certain radius there are males of the same species located, they will get an
Yes.
understanding that there is a female nearby.
Mm-hmm.
मेल की तरफ
This
से
is
क्या?
just like flower का वो. Yes.
हाँ, फीमेल की तरफ से मिला है सिग्नल्स. The
Yeah.
signaling pheromones. So that will
Yes.
produce a behavioral response in the males.
Uh-huh.
Right. So that will give rise to indication. It will increase. अभी evolution में ये क्यों develop हुआ? Because it will increase the chances of mating between males and the females. Better
Hmm.
reproduction, better survival of the species.
Hmm.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Hmm.
Signaling pheromones are also used to give an indication to others of the species about any possible food source, about any danger. जैसे
Oh, yes.
ओके अगर कोई शक्कर का दाना अगर कहीं गिरा हुआ रहेगा, ants are getting attracted. So one
Of
or two
course.
might locate it, but how is it able to pass on a message to others कि इस डायरेक्शन में जाओ वहां पर शक्कर गिरा हुआ है? They don't have any GPS or something.
Pheromones.
It's pheromones. तो
What?
trail
Okay.
करते हैं बराबर से.
Wow. Okay, got
Okay.
it. How
So
cool.
this queen, in the case of honeybees, now this is very interesting.
I
Honey
knew you were going to say
is
queen.
only
Yes.
one fertile female, जिसको बोलते हैं queen.
Hmm.
So the queen is the only, and in a given beehive, only the
Yes.
queen can be the fertile one. Rest all females are worker bees. They are females, but they remain sterile. So the queen bee will produce a pheromone called as the anti-queen factor.
What?
तो ये
I
pheromone के
didn't know that.
worker bees remain sterile, they don't become fertile.
Oh, wow. How cool.
Okay. So the factor will spread among the workers. So workers का
Ah,
जो है वो कभी mature नहीं होगा.
okay. Yeah.
That's why worker bees remain sterile. But if there is a situation when the queen bee will die, or if it becomes very old, if the queen bee cannot produce good amount of that pheromone, then the
Yes.
worker will start becoming a queen bee.
Oh, yeah. You told me. Yes. Yes, I remember.
Become a queen, then she will start producing the anti-queen factor. Other workers will remain sterile. Imagine
Okay. Wow.
condition behind us.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes. Clear.
समझा?
So, say chapter हो गया.
Finally, we come to the end of this small lesson, that is control and coordination.
Coordination. Yes. Okay.
Had a good
That's it.
control and had a good coordination throughout. Yes, very massive lesson.
Yes.
Right? Quickly
Yeah.
answer the video. Okay? First one. The
Question.
system of mammals uses both electrical and chemical means to send signals via neurons.
This part I.
Neuron
Which
receives the
part?
impulse.
No, it was wait, axon, dendron. Yes.
See the options. Which is the part that receives the impulse?
Receives the impulse. Impulse dendron does, right?
Sensation in
Note
the form of impulse is received by.
nodes of.
It is axon.
It is axon how?
Axon में impulse आता है ना, then it is conducted across the neuron. Nerve endings, axon.
Oh yeah, no. Oh yes, you're right. Dendrites is that part. Yes.
Next, dash is a neurotransmitter. बोल.
ADH, acetyl coenzyme A, acetyl and inositol. It was neurotransmitter. Wait. Oh, yes, you told me about neurotransmitters. It was
Easy.
some acetyl. Wait, not coenzyme. Acetylchlorine.
Chlorine नहीं है, choline.
Choline.
Acetylcholine. That's the answer. Okay. Third one.
Yes.
The supporting cells that produce myelin sheath in the PNS are
It was D option D.
different types of supporting cells. Neuroglia. उसका एक
Neuroglia.
चार में से एक option. Which is the one?
Last one, na? Schwann cells.
Schwann.
Schwann cells.
Answer is astrocytes.
Why astrocytes?
One type of neuroglia. See the table.
Wait, let me see.
Neuroglial structure.
How do you remember it? 1 minute. Neuroglia. What?
Do you remember?
No! Okay, fine. Okay, fine.
Next one.
Astrocyte.
A collection of neuron cell bodies located outside the CNS.
Outside the CNS is called a collection of neuron cell bodies. Outside the CNS.
What's the answer?
Ganglion.
It is ganglion.
Yes.
Aggregation of cell bodies of neurons. Okay.
Yes.
Receptors for protein hormones are located.
Protein hormones? Protein hormones proteins were on the surface. Yes. Not cell surface.
Surface. That's right. Good.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Next, if parathyroid gland of man are removed, the specific result will be
onset of aging, disturbance of CA, onset of elevation of blood.
Pronounce kar. What will be the result? Parathyroid is associated with what metabolism?
CA. Yes.
Calcitonin and parathormone. Antagonistic, hai na? So calcium will be disturbed simply.
Correct. Yes.
Then the hormones, thyroxine, adrenaline, and noradrenaline. They are formed from.
Oh, you taught me this just now.
It is thyroxine. That's the answer. Okay.
Yes.
Pheromones are chemical messengers produced by animals and released in the body. So the odor of this substance affects what?
Wait, let me read the question again.
Pheromones. Pheromones affect what?
Pheromones affect what? Skin color, excretion, digestion, or behavior? You told me that. Behavior.
Next. Which one of the following
is a set of
discrete endocrine glands?
Salivary, thyroid. This is what? Endocrine gland. Discrete. This now. Adrenal, testis, ovary, liver. Pituitary, thyroid, adrenal, thymus. Pituitary, thyroid, adrenal, thymus. Ek minute. Remember. Pituitary, thyroid, adrenal, thymus. Yes, I'm right.
Okay, correct. Next. After ovulation, Graafian follicle changes into
ovulation. A corpus spongiosum, corpus luteum. Luteum.
What's the answer?
Callosum?
It is corpus luteum.
Wait, I'm confused.
Graafian follicle will rupture, release the ovum, and the remaining part will turn into corpus luteum. Corpus luteum.
Oh Yes. Fine. Yes.
When the corpus luteum degenerates later, then it turns into corpus albicans.
Correct. Yes.
Corpus callosum is there in the brain between the two cerebral hemispheres.
Yes. Sure. It is located here.
Corpus spongiosum is a part of the male reproductive system. It is a part of the penis.
Okay, got it. Yes, I got it.
Understood? Next one.
Yes, understood.
Which one of the following pair correctly matches a hormone with a disease resulting from its deficiency?
Deficiency. Parathyroid hormone, diabetes, diabetes, insulin. This doesn't pair.
This is the correct
The
pair.
following pair correctly matches. Okay, hold on. Diabetes के साथ दोनों भी नहीं जाएगा. Thyroxine, 1090. Oh wait, इसके साथ दो था. P and A, both are not. Insulin.
Correct. It is insulin and hyperglycemia.
Hyperglycemia. Yeah.
The last one, dash is in direct contact of the brain in human.
Who is diameter, cranium,
Direct contact with the actual brain. Which one?
wait. Durameter? Durameter था ना?
सबसे ऊपर brain box, that is the cranium.
Cranium.
Then there are three meninges you have learned.
Yes.
Durameter. Middle one is arachnoid.
Durameter, मतलब I'm right. Yes.
Innermost is pyometer.
I was confused between pyometer and what?
Innermost is pyometer, and below the pyometer is the actual brain directly.
No.
Think.
Durameter. Wait. CD.
See,
Durameter is
there is a
in
cranium.
contact with cranium. Yes, you're right.
But durameter, then
Yes.
arachnoid, then pyometer. Pyometer ke
Then comes the brain. Yes, correct.
Now is it clear? Okay.
Clear.
So that comes to the end of the small lesson, that is control and coordination.
Yeah.
Done. One new chapter. Okay. So you have to revise, you have to learn. You know very well how much should be your memory level now. Okay.
Yeah.
Start learning. Okay. Next session we will start with a new lesson. Okay.